Morning, everybody. We're going to be working on my technique today, or at least I am. And we're going to be practicing, specifically focusing on the left hand motion. I marched several years of traditional grip and playing match grip for a while now, but my match grip is not where I want it to be. So we're going to be refining accent taps, specifically focusing on the motion of the taps. So I'll kind of like talk you through how I do that. Now, in these streams, I share how I practice. So you can find all of the practice streams, and inside of them, when you click on it, it's got timestamps. So you can see like, here's what I talked about, or here's what I practiced, etc. So you can go back a couple hundred, almost 300 videos and check all of those. People come into these streams on various platforms like on YouTube, TikTok, Twitch, Instagram, etc. And they'll ask me some questions. I will respond to those questions when I'm able to, and I will turn a lot of those into little edited highlights that I put in this playlist, the Drumming Tips playlist. So if you got a question, feel free to ask it, and I will most likely put it in one of these videos. The start of these is like whatever the title is, but then there's like usually sometimes several more different topics in there. So again, just check out the timestamps. But you can find all of this stuff neatly organized on my home tab on YouTube. Just go to the home tab and then click on the drumming content header, and it shows you every single one of the literally over 1,000 play-alongs. We've got over 900 grid variations now, triplet and 16th note. We got a ton of marching bass stuff, ton of drum kit charts, all sorts of stuff. You can find them organized there. Or you can go here on my website. /drum will take you to this page where we've got, Onion, good morning. All of the chop exercises, there's 55 of them here. We've got over 900 grid variations. As of last night, I added in a bunch more. We've got a bunch of drum charts. There's like 55 of them. Naruto, welcome. Over 200. Marching bass stuff, almost 200 technique exercises. And then here are the playlists that I was just referring to for the entire VOD for the practice streams, as well as like the questions that I answer in chat and whatnot. So you can check that out there. Now, we are going to get motivated here with Shia LaBeouf. He helps me get started with my streams. So let's hide him for copyright purposes. But let's get super motivated now. Help me out, Shia. Do it! Just do it! Don't let your dreams be dreams. Yesterday, you said tomorrow. So just do it. Make your dreams come true. Just do it. Some people dream success. Well, you're going to wake up and work hard at it. Nothing is impossible. You should get to the point where anyone else would quit. And you're not going to stop there. No, what are you waiting for? Do it. Just do it. Yes, you can. Just do it. If you're tired of starting over, stop giving up. Oh, yeah. I'm super motivated now. Oh, look at that flex. Thanks, Shia LaBeouf. I appreciate you stopping into the stream. Okay. Let me actually pull up something real quick. I've got the plan. Oh, yeah. I almost forgot. Okay, so first thing I want to do is I want to actually share a quote that resonates with me. Okay, so this quote is... Where's it at? Hey, thanks for the sub. I appreciate it. The quote is, if you can do something to change your circumstances, don't worry about it. If you can't do anything, don't worry about it. So the point of that quote, I've often heard it in relation to like Buddhist philosophy and thought, is focus on what you can control and do your best to not focus on the things outside of your control. So for example, politics right now. Vote, and then don't get caught up in the drama. Do the thing that you can control, which is voting, and don't worry about all the other nonsense that goes on with political discourse and whatnot. So, simple little quote that can have a profound impact on your life if you're able to figure it out. The hard part is not focusing on those things outside of your control. I say that with experience. Okay, so let's actually talk about something here. There's a couple things I want to talk about. I wrote them down to make sure I didn't forget before we actually get into the drumming thing. So one is there's a question on Reddit last night that somebody asked about how to work on your 3s and 4 strokes. So this playlist right here has some 3 and 4 stroke exercises that you can use to improve. This very first one is the 3-stroke strength, and it is fantastic if you're doing a 3-stroke where you are focusing on controlling, individually stroking each one of the notes. So this particular exercise, when you go into this play along, like you can slow this all the way down to 20 beats a minute or as fast as 160, all the timestamps in the description. When you go to it, it plays everything at 1 volume. And then it has a 9-inch accent and a 6-inch tap. So these are not full like 12 and 3, but you're going to emphasize the accents. And then, so what it's doing is it's going through each one of the 3 strokes with an accent. So it makes it so that you can focus on getting a nice balanced sound. So it does it on the right hand, on the left hand, and then both together. When you do this both together, you don't want to hear a flam sound. You want to hear a popping sound, meaning that the hands are moving at the same velocity and the same timing, etc. So this is a great exercise to work on your 3 strokes if you are individually stroking each one of the notes. My other favorite exercise for doing a controlled bounce stroke, where you're just doing one motion and letting the bounce kind of work for you, is the isolated 3s exercise. So this particular exercise allows you to do right, both, left, both, and then it puts them together. And it is, again, you can slow it down using the timestamps or speed it up, but it is a great way to work on a controlled bounce stroke doing 3s, and there's also a 4-stroke version. So you can get 1 motion, 3 notes out of it. So I highly recommend those exercises, but there are more inside of this playlist, and there's literally over 1,000 more linked at the top of the screen. Keep you busy for a while. Can I listen to Indian rap and give my reaction? No, I don't do React stuff because copyright issues. Also, because I only speak English, and sometimes very poorly, I don't know what kind of content is in it, so I want to make sure I'm not listening to stuff that is inappropriate, since I do family-friendly streams. But I do like tabla music. It's fantastic. Absolutely awesome. But copyright issues, I really avoid that. Good question, though. Okay, here's another topic that I want to talk about real quick. Hello. Let me turn on a metronome for this. Whoa. Okay. All right, looks like the mic is picking that up. Okay. So, crushed strokes, crushed diddles. So when people are playing a roll, and you're doing 2 on a hand, there's a tendency to crush the diddles, where the space between the first and second note of the diddles is closed off, and then there's a gap at the end before the next hand. So what you want to do is really focus on opening them up, but you don't want to open up too much like that, get them really wonky. So a crushed diddle is where the notes in here are closed off too much, and then there's a gap in between each one of the hands. So you want to have nice and even, mathematically even, strokes between each one of the hands when you're playing it. So if an instructor tells you that you are playing crushed, then it means that the second note of the diddle is coming in too early. Now, one of the ways that you can work on this is to actually do the play-alongs that have inverted diddles. So for example, underneath technique, there's a bunch of different roll exercises like 16th note or triplet. And when you click on one of these, it's got the normal variations and then an inverted variation where it actually moves the diddle over a little bit so that the second note is on the downbeat, which sounds weird, but when you take a look at it, it makes sense. So I highly recommend working on inverted diddle variations to work on not crushing the second note of the diddle, so that way you can get it nice and even, as opposed to diddles that sound like that rhythmically. Cool. Those are the couple of topics I wanted to talk about. And now we're going to warm up. So the one I'm going to use to warm up is actually going to be 16th note pyramid, a classic. Under technique. Where is it at? Oh yeah, endurance and speed. Okay, so this is a great way to get your blood flow in your hands going. So we're going to start off at a nice comfortable 90. And we're going to turn the volume up. Again, this is 16th note pyramid. So this one is too loud for me. So this one, you want to do this at like tap height. You could do this at full volume if you wanted to, but we're not going to do that. Hopefully this volume is better. Because we're playing at taps, it'll like drown it out completely. You could do this at 3 or at 6. Whoops. Playing a variation where you invert it. My bad. I have a tendency to play that variation. I don't know why. I played this normal version way more than the inverted version. But my brain just sometimes is like, nope, we're gonna do that. Simple, right? Very easy exercise in terms of what you're actually playing, but it's hard to execute the hand-to-hand transitions. Jeffrey, good morning. Welcome back. Crescendoing slightly at the end of the phrase. It's like almost going like this. That's like a way exaggerated version of it. Couple more times, then we'll stretch and massage, and then we're going to work on the accent tap stuff. Really refine that left hand. Thank you for the like. And all the likes on TikTok, appreciate that as well. Perfect, flawless. No issues with a hand-to-hand transition. Couple more times. We'll play it a little higher. My hands feel very stiff this morning. It's one of those mornings. They were feeling stiff when I was working out. Whoops. Should probably ice them, help get rid of that inflammation. All right, last rep. Still doing it at 6 for the moment. I'm looking at my hands, specifically the wrist bend. I want my wrist to bend when I'm doing this. This is probably an easy way to demonstrate it. So I want this to move up and over right here. As opposed to using like a finger like this, I want the wrist to move like that. But we're doing it at a tap height. Anyways, so that's what we're gonna be focusing on today, in today's practice stream. We're working on lower taps and some accent tap exercises that are very simple but very effective. Anyways, we're going to stretch and massage first. Do this. Ooh-wee. Oh, wow. ASMR. Creaks and cracks. That's what happens when you get old. Get all that popping sounds. 39, pretty much ancient. And just go back out the way that you came. If you do traditional, rotate and hold here, and then rotate and hold here, 20 to 30 seconds each, but I don't do that anymore, so I'm not going to worry about that. Yesterday, I demonstrated how you can stretch the underside of the forearm by going up to the wall, and the lower you go, the deeper the stretch. I'll go ahead and do it right here. Yeah. Crystal, hello. And now we're going to stretch the top side of the forearm up here. You could do it on the wall. The higher you go, the deeper the stretch. We're going to do it here. Thank you for the sub, Joe. Appreciate you. How am I? I'm good. How about yourself? My hands are a little tight this morning. We'll see how it impacts my playing, but glad I can still drum. Let's now stretch each one of the fingers. We're going to do thumb to thumb. Goes twice as fast and one at a time. And then after we finish this last stretch, we're going to do the little massage routine, and then we will work on some accent tap stuff. There's a bunch of accent tap exercises on my YouTube channel under the Home tab and on my website. But we're going to be focusing on some specific ones. Oh, ASMR. Enjoy those little popping sounds. See if you can get another one. Oh, just a little one. Now we're going to massage. So we're doing thumb on top, fingers underneath, massaging up and down the forearms. Then we'll go with the hands, and then we'll go with the fingers, and then we will drum again. You're going to subscribe? I appreciate it. Thank you. There's literally over 1,000 drumming videos on my Home tab. I think it's like 2,600 hours of content. Something like that. A lot. More to come. We've got over 200 videos scheduled, so if you're a member, you get early access to those. If you're not a member, don't worry. It comes out for free. New one every day. Okay, so we're trying to relax the forearm. Trying to get nice and relaxed. Now we're going to do the hand. So the thumb will massage here. The fingers will massage the back side of the hand. Do this daily, at least once a day. This whole routine, and it will help your hands significantly. So does lifting up your arms above your head, so that way like the blood will flow out of it, kind of like drain a little bit some of the extra inflammation you might get. You might need to ice it as well, like your forearms. That can help with the inflammation, especially if you're doing like all days. If you're in drum corps and you're drumming 12 plus hours a day, you need to give your hands some rest time. Get rid of that inflammation, or it leads to some issues. Ask me how I know. We're now massaging base to tip of each one of the fingers. So do this like 2-3 times. Maybe 7 times if your finger's extra tight. And this will be the last thing we do. And then we'll get back to playing this stuff. Ooh, that finger's tight. Unexpected. Alrighty, let's go back here. So, underneath the technique exercises, we have this accent tap playlist. This one has a bunch of different accent tap exercises in here. The ones that I'm going to focus on are, so there's like different patterns for here. 4s, 3s, 2s. So you're either playing like 4 notes, where you emphasize the first one, or 3, or 2. Or this one, which is 2 up, 2 down. So you go up, up, down, down, up, down, down. So that actually works on the 4 primary stroke types if you do rudimental stuff like 2 accent playing or 2 height playing, where you have an up, up stroke, an up, down stroke, a down, down stroke, and a down, up stroke. So the ups and downs being where you start and end. So it goes through all 4 of them by doing up, 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 down, 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 up when you're playing that. So it's a great exercise. Even though it's very simple, it's phenomenal. It's currently members first, but I promise it's coming out soon. Well, I don't know about soon. There's 200 videos. I don't remember when they're all coming out. These relaxers, whether it's the tap relaxers or the accent relaxers, are an interesting little pattern that you can work on where you start off with 3-inch taps and then you slowly raise up your accents and then slowly lower the accents all the way back down to 3-inch taps. We're going to do this one, the tap relaxer version, but there's also at the top the accent relaxer version, which is the opposite of this. So this one you actually start with accents and you slowly lower the taps and then you bring it back up, ending with 12-inch accents. This is a great way to focus on relaxed 12-inch accents when you're playing, nice and loose, but we're focusing on taps today. So we're going to do the tap relaxer, and we'll do the 4 pattern as opposed to the 3s or the 2s. Okay, so inside of the timestamps, we're going to select a BPM. Now, when going through this, you can go at whatever speed you want, but I'm going to play this as double stops, so both hands playing simultaneously. This will allow me to really focus on matching my hands, both in terms of like how they sound, but also how they look. So you want to hear that popping sound as opposed to this sound like a flam or a cha. And you want to be able to watch your hands and make sure that they look the same. So right now we're doing a 4-inch accent, just a little emphasis. Now 6. And then 9. And then 12. And these slower speeds really focus on playing relaxed with your accents. My 9's a little too low. 6 inches. And then the emphasis is 4. And then all taps. Okay, so that's the exercise. Now, I want to actually pull this up so I can actually look at my hands from the camera perspective and kind of see how does my right and left hand compare. I want to make sure that they are consistent with each other. So we're at 4-inch accents. 6. 9. 12. Just pull it back. 9. 6. Again, keeping the taps at the same height every single time. 4. Just a slight emphasis. And then all taps. Now, when I'm doing this exercise, again, I'm trying to go for wrist motion in here. So my wrist is going to physically move up and down. This is like a way exaggerated version of what's going on here. It's a combination of rotary with wrist stroke, with fingers opening up to give space, like on the accents, without squeezing them or using them as the primary driver. So there's many ways that you can play. Like if you're playing, you can play with just finger and not move your wrist at all. You can play with just wrist and not move your finger at all. You can also do a rotary wrist, like a rotary French grip, or like Stevens 4 mallet grip. It's rotary motion. So those are all like some of the main ways that you can work on it, but you can also do it with different grips. So there's the German grip where you have flat hand. There's the French grip where you have thumb up, so your hands will be like facing towards each other. And then there's the American grip, which is kind of at a slope in between the other two options that I just mentioned. So I'm going for the American grip with a little bit of rotation in there. It gives it a little bit more speed and power behind it. So I want to see my wrist move up and down when I'm doing this, so I can get a good strong sound while playing fast. When you get super fast, then I'll engage the fingers a little bit more for like some of the smaller tap notes, like really fast paradiddles, etc. But in general, it's mainly just a wrist motion. My problem is when I'm doing this, my left hand will flatten out more towards this like Germanic grip or hold, and my right hand stays nice and comfortable because I marched many years with the right hand looking the way it does right now, whereas my left hand, I was playing traditional grip for several seasons, so I'm still trying to refine this. So I'm specifically focusing on that wrist motion on those taps without flattening it out and playing Germanic like that. Long-winded answer of saying that's what I'm looking for. In case y'all are wondering. But there's many ways to play, many contexts. Depends on what you're going for. I will change my technique depending on what I'm doing. But that is the general like approach that I'm using for rudimental stuff. And what I recommend for the students that I work with. But every technique has an affordance, a constraint. Another way of describing it is different trade-offs. They all have their own benefits, drawbacks. So pick what works best for you and your context. If you want to use Moeller technique, cool. If you want to use finger French, cool. If you want to use rotary French, cool. Just know why you're doing it. Don't just like blindly follow, well, this is what my instructor told me, it's the only way that you can play. Nope. Hate to break it to you. There's many ways to play. Slight emphasis, 4 inches. 6 inches, ish. So larger emphasis, 9 inches. $12 inches. 9. 6. 4 inches. And taps. So I'm really trying to still feel that motion in there. Now, when I get to 49, that'll be the last rep that I'll do of this. I'm going to flip back over to the opposite version of this that works on the accents. So it starts off large and slowly lowers the taps. And I want to see how my hands change, focusing on that version. So the accents will stay at 12, and then you slowly lower the taps. Whoops, 9 inches. Talking screws me up. 12 inches. Do not, on the 12s, just pull it back. Stay relaxed. Let gravity and velocity do the work for you, especially if you're playing slow. I think I had a short come out on that this morning. Why you should do that. Check that out if you haven't. So my left like feels different. Kind of like where the weight of the stick is in the hand feels different from the right. Like the angle's a little off. So I'm trying to figure out like why. Let me look at it from this angle. 6 inches. I don't like that the overhead camera is off 9 inches. So it like gives it a weird angle. I get bored in the tap-offs. I've done and listened to too many tap-offs in one lifetime. It'd be interesting if you were to, like, go back and do a life review. How many tap-offs have I heard or done? A lot. How much time? Is it like a year of my life? Is it just like a full day? It's a lot. Who knows? Could do like the math behind it. Well, how many times did we rehearse? How many years? How many reps do you typically get per hour? If you can't tell, I'm a wee bit of a nerd. I own it. It's okay. I earned that doctorate. I live up to it. Trying to make sure that my, whoops, only 6 inches. The taps are consistent with how it feels, but also where the stick is weighted in the hands. It's slightly different in terms of like where's the thumb weight on the left versus the right. These are all like very subtle things that you would not notice just by looking at it, but I notice it because I can feel it. It's something that you can also focus on with your own playing. Not just how it sounds, but like literally what does it feel like? This is not the appropriate word for it, but like the pressure points. You don't want to have pressure, or at least a lot of pressure when you're playing, because that will lead to unnecessary tension and really screw things up. So don't do that. Why is the pad so low? Oh, it has to do with playing nice and relaxed. So like when I play concert snare, I'll even keep it this low, but also put it at an angle, so that way you can get more motion on the wrist. But if you have it up high like this, like it creates all this unnecessary tension in the upper body in particular. But if you play nice and low, then you can have a nice relaxed upper body, as opposed to if you're like this when you're playing. It creates tension up here and in your shoulders. So the lower you can put the drums, the better it is for that particular side of things. Each one of the like choices that make with it will have like a different drawback. But for me, like when I used to teach like traditional with the tilt, like that right hand was just kind of like hanging down there, as opposed to like when I marched, we had traditional and it was flat and it was way too much tension right here. Always had it at waist level. Yeah, I mean, it depends on what you're doing though. So like if I had a drum on right now, and I was holding it, then it might be hitting my knees, like if it was a snare drum, because of those go deeper usually than like tenors. So yeah, but yeah, waist level. Some people put it higher, so that way they can get like this flat. But each one of them like has like different affordances, constraints. But that's the thought process behind it. No, that's only if you're approaching it not parallel. So if you're playing like this at an angle, you're getting a slicing stroke, and that'll create an issue. But if you go into it still where you are playing parallel to the surface and the stick is going perpendicular straight into it, then you won't have the sound issues. Like my playing is so much louder than a lot of other people, and like the drum lines I used to teach, because we really focus on just playing relaxed. and getting out of the way of that tension. Anyways, good question though. But that's the rationale behind it. Let's now do the opposite of this. So we're going to slow it back down to 40 again, but we're going to do the accent relaxer, which will start at 12 inches, slowly lower the taps, and then slowly raise the taps. And timestamp. Boop. Oh. Speaking of tension, upper body is tight from the workout. Ugh. Gotta massage it more. Relax it. Emphasis of 12 and 11. 12 and 9. 12 and 6. 12 and 3. 12 and 6. 12 and 9. 12 and 11. 11. 9. I marched 5 years in academy and then got into a car accident on my 5th year. So I didn't get to march year 6 or 7. That was a long time ago because I'm old. But I have studied with literal world champions or the people who taught them. So I'm fortunate to have that access to high quality instruction, etc. Also studied all the concert percussion stuff. I don't think so. I marched 2001 to 2005. So it was like 20 years ago. It's a long time ago. I'm old. Yeah, that was way after my time. He would have been like one of my students. I think I was like just starting the doctorate 2011. Part-time. 2012, I think, is when I started full-time. Yeah, I'm old. Yeah, it was quite the disappointing because I had like hands. Hello, Sasso. But I chose to stick with academy because I wanted to like help the group get better. But then it got to a point where like it wasn't helping me get better. And so it was really disappointing that I didn't get to march those last couple years. Because I wanted to go elsewhere. But I didn't. But it kind of left this, it felt unresolved because I never got to finish what I had started. So now I just like constantly feel like I need a crate. So it's like a bummer, but also kind of helped me in the long run. I'm looking down a lot because I'm trying to look at my left hand in particular. Figure out what's up. It's getting better with the angle. Yeah, it does. It's not something I wish on anyone, but I mean, it taught me to focus on the education side of things. Like, I was originally going to get advanced degrees in like percussion performance, but after that car accident, because like it prevented me from marching, I was like, all right, I want to focus on the teaching side of things in case I get like a hand injury or something, and then I wouldn't really be able to do it. So I focused on the music education side of things, and it made me a better teacher, in my opinion. Maybe my students would disagree, but yeah, there's many scenarios in life that you'll have, if you haven't had them already, where it's like a bad thing, but you can find good in it. Like something can happen to you, and all you can do is choose how you respond and try and find the good in it, which is why I have like the tattoo on my forearm. I'll show it in a minute. It represents many moments in my life like that, where it's like something bad happened, but something good can come out of it. So the idea of like, it starts to rain, trying to learn how to play in the rain, flip that umbrella upside down. So like, that's why I've got that tattoo. And that car accident is one of those scenarios. Just an emphasis. Now 9 inches for the taps. 6. And 3. A little too heavy on the accent. And 6. 9. 11. Yeah, so the thing that I'm noticing right now is it's technically the pressure, but like I want to emphasize you don't want to squeeze. You don't want the white knuckles like that. That's creating unnecessary tension. But here, when playing this, the pressure point that I'm feeling is different on my left and my right hand. I've got a foot pedal that allows me to swap between these. I mean, I'm a sorcerer. So when I'm doing this, my left was like creeping up more. This is like a very exaggerated version like that, rather than staying consistent with like my right thumb. You know, trim my fingernails. Yeah, the foot pedal makes it so much easier to be able to swap between these. Like if I'm demonstrating something on tenors and I want to switch, I can do that. I appreciate the follow on Twitch. Yeah, even the velocity is different. Like when I was doing the 11-inch taps on that, like the left hand, it just the speed of it was different than the right hand. And I'm like desperately trying to figure out what's up. What's going on? So I'm making micro adjustments right now with my hands to figure out, did that micro adjustment make it better or worse? How so? Did you just kill the... It's actually covered up. TikTok's covering up your comment. I'll take a look at it in a second. My apologies. TikTok's being naughty. Why are you blocking that? Did you kill the stream? What do you mean? That sound effect is the World of Warcraft level up sound. It's just sped up. It makes me laugh. Yeah, I don't know. Like, what is different? So I'm like changing slight angles in the hand. Way less than that. This is obviously exaggerated. Just to like see how to make it feel the same, but I'm not getting it. Like, is it a finger issue? Is it a wrist angle issue? I don't know. That's the joys of like practicing. There's always more to work on. I say as somebody who's been doing it for 26 years. Anyways, let's see. Oh, it's almost 9. Okay. I'm going to chop out, and then tomorrow I'll resume working on technique again. We'll do that some more. But we're going to be playing a new game today called Squirrel with Guns. So that'll be in like 30 minutes, and it looks wacky. I haven't played it, though. Let's see. What do I want to chop out with? Something fun. There's too many things to choose from. Jeffrey, thank you again for stopping in. Hope you have a good rest of your day. Let's do float drags. There's a few variations in here. 8 variations, to be precise. Whatnot. Hello again. Let's do... Where is it at? There it is. Chutichuhs. This'll be a good one to work on chops. 162. I don't know about that. Let's start off at 140. I do remember you. Your first stream that you stopped into was Fortnite, if I remember correctly. Oh, inverts. It's a good one, right? First half is check pattern. Second half is ramming a bunch of notes. Let's try to 150. There's the number. I can count sometimes. Oh, so tight in my shoulders. What's interesting is I noticed an improvement just from what I was working on with the left hand, which is great, but I'm feeling like a tension here. So whenever you feel tension, when you're playing, one of the things that you can do is figure out where it's coming from by simply squeezing each one of your fingers. So squeeze those two, and then squeeze the middle with the thumb, and then the ring with the thumb, and then the pinky with the thumb, and try and figure out, like, where is it creating that source of tension in your hand while you're playing through whatever it is you're doing. Same thing for traditional, whatever it is that you're working on. You can figure out, oh, I'm tense right here because of this finger, or because I'm tense right here because of this finger. So just squeeze it and then go, okay, now I need to be conscious of relaxing that part of the hand. So for this one, it's my thumb and index finger on my left hand. That's squeezing too much. So I need to slow this down, like tomorrow, and work on it more. Stay tuned. Flawless. Not a single mistake. Too fast. You can slow this one down. Again, as slow as 40 beats a minute. Or as fast as 200 if you can play it way faster than I can. There's many more variations here and literally over 1,000 free exercises here. If it says members first, it just means that it's scheduled for release in the future. I've got over 200 of those scheduled. So stay tuned for plenty more. Like which one? These, the timing transitions. I added 49 of them over this past week. So lots of good stuff coming. I do appreciate people stopping in. I do appreciate the questions. Good questions about the stick angles and whatnot and pad height. All that fun stuff. As with anything, there's like no right or wrong way to do things. It's just like right or wrong for different contexts. So if you're using a different type of stick and playing under a different type of surface, maybe you want to change the height of it. Maybe you want to make it lower. Maybe you want to make it higher, etc. Or change the angle of your playing to get a different kind of sound quality out of it. But for what I'm doing, hopefully that explanation made sense. Alex, hello. I'm going to tear this down and I'm going to get ready to play a goofy game. Squirrels with guns, or squirrel with guns. It looks wacky. So stay tuned for that. But I appreciate you all. If you enjoy this content, just share it with somebody else. And have a good rest of your day. Goodbye.